Hi, today I'm going to tell you so many different ways that you can practice a very simple one-octave scales. We should all play scales every day, but in the daunting task of playing scales, there's 2-octave scales, 3-octave scales, 1-octave scales, 4-octave scales, arpeggios, double stops, this, that, the other. Well, here's something really simple. What about if we just practiced a 1-octave scale to warm up, but we did it in so many different ways? So I like to do things really simply. I think doing things simply really helps because when things are simple, they're kind of easy to play in one way, but we can really make our technique shine by taking something that's not that difficult and making lots of variations and learning tons from doing those things. So let's do a simple D major scale. Well, in the easiest way, we can do a 1-octave D major scale like this. Very simple, starting on an open string, using the open A string both times. So that's the simplest way to do a D scale. One thing I'd like to say is that I love to play scales without music in front of me. I'll try to make a sheet that tells you all the things that I do on this video, but I really think it's a really good idea to try to reason things out and play all the scales with no music and just think of what notes we need to play and what fingerings we're doing. So it really gives us a really great idea, both kind of about what we're doing and also mapping out our fingerboard. I'll show you more of that as we go. Now the next variation I can do is to do a 4th finger on the way up and an open string on the way down. There's the 4th finger. Open string. Quickly going, we can do an open string going up and a 4th finger going down. Like so. Or we can use both 4th fingers. So that's already 4 different ways that we can play our D major scale. Now the next one is kind of fun. This one's a 1-finger scale, so I'm going to just use a 1st finger and play the D major scale up the D string. I usually play in a kind of a pattern like this. That was a 1st finger scale. Now I'm going to do a 2nd finger scale. Now I'm going to just go up to save a little bit of time, but you get the point. You can go back down too. One thing I want you to notice there is that when I went up, my fingers weren't always equidistant. Sometimes they were by a whole step, sometimes a half step. Because in this case, I have a G, but my 1st finger should be on the F sharp that's in the key. But the next note's going to go to an A, and the 1st finger is going to go to a G. so they're going to split apart again. So in other words, I like to keep my fingers always in the key of the scale as I do this. Now watch that while I play a third finger scale. Now you'll see that my fingers change position quite a bit because sometimes there's 2 whole steps between my fingers, like here and here, and sometimes there's a whole step and a half step like that, and sometimes when I'm F sharp G A, I have a half step and a whole step, and that makes us have to really think a lot about that. The next thing I can do is do a 4th finger scale. I'm on A, now I have to start thinking. As I came up here, I have my 3rd finger on an A, my 2nd on a G, and my 1st on an F sharp. Like that. When I go to the C sharp, I have 4 half steps, or 3 half steps, but all fingers, whole steps, but all fingers apart from each other. When I go up here, I have a half step between 3 and 4 and 2 whole steps. Like that. So that's much more complicated. You can do it simply like this. To start, and then after that, figure out your finger positions. Now another thing you can do that I like to do is to play kind of a this. So I'm playing everything in the key of D, but I'm playing little tetrachord movements using all 4 fingers. Let me show you that from the other side. First finger is on E, F sharp, G, A, B, G, A, B, C sharp, C sharp D, B, C sharp D, E, C sharp D, E, F sharp, and then D, E, F sharp, G. And it really helps to say the name of the notes while you're doing that. Because now I have this real idea of what I'm doing on the fingerboard. Another way I can do the scale is to move to each position and then go across the string like this. Now I'm going to go to 2nd position. 1, 1. Now I'm going to go to 3rd position. 4th position. But when I go to 4th position, I'm back on the string, but then I can shift to 5th position. And that again really helps me map my fingerboard so I can feel all of the different positions. There's so many ways that you can do this. You can slur, you can do all sorts of things. I usually don't slur because usually I do this just to kind of warm my left hand up. This especially is a great exercise. that tetrachord one that I showed you before. And everything else just kind of leads up to that. And what happens is that now I feel totally warmed up in my left hand, and I have a great feel of my fingerboard. That's the key of D. Now, the next day I can say, well, you know what? I want to do the key of E and do exactly the same thing. Or I can do it on a different string. Or I can do anything. I just kind of practice different ways. And it really, really helps me. But that's a simple way to do it. Anyway, I hope this video has been helpful to you. I know it's probably a little confusing, but if you watch it a couple of times, you'll really get the idea. There's no one way to do anything like this. This is a personal thing, how we practice scales. Practicing scales every day is an adventure. And if we take the adventure and make something out of it, our playing can skyrocket and get so much better. And that's what we're all after. We just all want to play beautifully. And that's a great step to get started to playing beautifully. Until I see you the next time, happy practicing.